5:04. I will call the community listening session to order for Monday, July 14th at 5 p.m. Would you please get the clerk to call the roll call?
Council Representative Huckabee.
Here.
Council Representative Lesko-Hare.
Here.
Council Representative Schultz.
Here.
President Jacob.
Here.
I do not see Council Representative Johnson yet.
And new business. 3A will be a presentation of information relating to fluoride in the city of Port Atkinson water system.
Thank you. So along with the agenda, there was a packet published for this city council meeting. This listening session is intended to accomplish the following items: provide the city council and the public with information relating to the city's use of fluoride in the water system, provide an opportunity to gather feedback from the public relating to the city's use of fluoride, and provide the city council with an opportunity to discuss the use of fluoride and provide staff with direction moving forward. The city of Port Atkinson has used fluoride in the public water system since December 28th of 1949. The city initially added fluoride as a means to support oral health for children and has done so ever since. Both the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, the DNR, and the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, DHS, recommend that operators of public water supplies add fluoride to water systems within the range of 0.6 to 0.8 milligrams per liter for optimal benefits. In June, the city staff tested the raw water from wells 6 and 7 to determine if there is a natural level of fluoride in the city's aquifer. Well 6 had a 0.09 milligrams per liter reading, and well 7 had a 0.05 milligrams per liter reading. Neither of these meets those recommended levels by DNR or DHS. The city does strive for that 0.7 milligrams per liter as is recommended. The city reports all water testing results to the DNR on a monthly basis. They are all in a portal that is linked through the memo in the packet, and the city has been in compliance with the DNR relating to levels of fluoridation in the water system since record keeping began with this system in 1992. So we do monitor levels of fluoride in the water system on a daily basis at each site. There are costs associated with fluoridation of the city's water system. The cost of the chemical on an annual basis is about $8,900, and the cost associated with injection maintenance at the 4 wells is about $2,600 annually. There are labor costs, but they're nominal. Any reduction in the chemical injection would not result in any labor savings. The annual total cost for fluoridation is about $11,500. And that is funded through the water utility fund. The total operating and capital budget for that fund is just under $4 million. And as a percentage of the overall budget, the cost of fluoridation is 0.3%. And the per capita cost, assuming 12,500 people, is roughly 92 cents per year. So staff recommends that the city council provide feedback and direction to staff relating to the matters discussed during this meeting and included in this staff report. Also, Director of Public Works Zach Nabin and Water Utility Superintendent Jeff Armstrong are here to answer questions for the City Council during that session.
All right. Moving on to number 4, the listening portion. The City of Port Atkinson Council will receive public comments relating to the matter of fluoride in the water. Speakers must be city residents, property owners, or business representatives within the city. Comments are generally limited to 3 minutes per individual. Anyone wishing to speak, we ask that you have signed up prior at the door when you came in. I may limit this down to 45 minutes if the general consensus kind of keeps coming back. So we will start out with Mr. Callan. Okay, yep. Sorry, Ms. Callan, sorry.
That's okay. I'm Jen Callan. I live at 522 Robert Street here in Port Atkinson. There are plenty of other people in the room who can talk to the benefits of fluoride. I think, anybody in my generation grew up with elders who all had dentures. And since there's been fluoride in the water, I've seen a significant difference in that. I've benefited from it myself. But one thing that I wanted to bring up to appeal to your fiscal side is that as I was doing some research on this, in one website that I saw from Johns Hopkins University, mentioned that the city of Calgary in Alberta, in 2011, the city council directed the staff to discontinue fluoridation of the water in Calgary, and there was a significant increase in dental problems for kids after that. 10 years later, they had a public election, and the vast majority of people in town voted to reintroduce fluoridation in the water. That was in 2021. And so they went for 10 years without it. I'm sorry, I have my dates wrong. Anyway, in 2021, they voted to restore it. And that has been at a cost of $28 million to reintroduce the equipment that is needed. And that vote was taken in 21. They started the retrofitting in 23, and just last month is when they started with fluoridation in the water again. It took them that long to get it going and that much money. So I highly recommend that. The benefits far outweigh any possible problems as long as we're maintaining that recommended amount of the 0.6 to 0.8. And please, please do not discontinue the fluoridation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Callen. Sorry for the confusion at first.
My name is John Callen. I live at 522 Robert Street as well, right? Always helps to check. My first comment is in the form of a question. Why? Why are we doing this? Who did this? Oh, sorry, that's 3 questions. 2.5 questions. In a normal world, a session like this would be self-evidently pointless. But we're living in a very abnormal world. I've been looking at sources, so many sources in the last 2 days, I cannot cite from them all, don't have time to. My main point here will be that assuming that the reason for this hearing session is that there are people who are proposing that we alter or terminate the fluoridation of Fort water system. If that is the case, then my main point is that this position seems to be based on a single report by the National Toxicology, NTP, I can't remember the full name, and it's a report. It's not a study. There's a difference. And that report is seriously flawed, so flawed in fact that it could not pass peer review twice to get published. And so the third time, the NTP simply bypassed peer review and went to court, took it to court. And they got a partially favorable ruling from the judge. It's not as straightforward as it seems. One of the reasons it's flawed, seriously, is that it's based primarily on fluoridation levels in waters in other countries, especially in Asia. It assumes that association is causation, which is not the case necessarily. And what I think is the fatal flaw in this is that it's based on the use of 1.5 ppm, which is over twice the level that's in fluoridated water in this country and can be serious. In some cases, it's based on natural levels of fluoride in water systems in other countries, 11 to 17 times the 0.7 ppm in Fort system and other systems. So, since I don't have time to quote of any of these sources I've read. I will just sum up by citing 13 signers of a letter to the temporary, am I done?
I'll let you finish that statement.
Okay,
there.
a letter to the temporary head of the EPA. This includes the American Dental Association, American Academy of General Dentistry, American Academy of Oral and Maxillofacial Pathology, American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry, Academy of Pediatric Odontology, Dental, Oral, and Craniofacial Research, American Association of Endodontists, American Association of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeons, American Association of Orthodontists, American Association of Public Health Dentistry, American Dental Education Association, American Fluoridation Society, and the American Student Dental Association. That's 13 groups of people who we presume know what they're talking about. So my final words really are in the form of another question. Some of you may recognize its source. Ice cream, Mandrake? Children's ice cream? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Williams.
Hi, I'm Dr. Donald Williams, and I live at 411 Frederick Avenue. I've been in Fort Atkinson since 1980 and raised 4 children here. I want to talk about fluoride from 2 perspectives. The first being my personal perspective. I grew up in the country, much like outside of a city like Fort Atkinson in Illinois, and we did not have fluoride in our water supplies, obviously. And also growing up, we always had store-bought toothpaste. When I was a child, there's only 2 brands that are still in existence, Colgate and Crest. And we never had this. We had the cheap stuff, and we were poor farmers. Dental visits always had cavities. And so I have a mouthful of fillings. And then as time went on, as the fillings eroded the teeth, I now have a mouthful of crowns. With the gold ones, I may be worth more dead than alive. And I have 4 children who grew up in Fort Atkinson. And I don't think they brush their teeth any more than we do. We always brush our teeth twice a day, and we saw the dentist regularly. When they got to be 18, they had a total of 2 cavities between the 4 of them. Granted, they had fluoride toothpaste, but they also had the fluoride in the water supply, which made a big difference. Fluoride decreases the bacteria in our teeth, which helps initiate cavities. It also prevents the teeth from having the enamel absorbed off of it, so the teeth remain stronger and more resistant to cavities. Fluoride added to water supply is thought to reduce the baby teeth cavities by 40 to 50% and adult cavities by 50 to 60%. So it does have a big impact. There was a study just a couple weeks ago, before I heard about this meeting, that I read that modeled what would happen if we have no fluoride. They estimated in 5 years there'd be 25 million more people who have cavities than before, and it would cost about $10 billion to take care of all of that. There are the concerns about too much fluoride. Fortunately, I think we've heard that 0.7 is the goal to shoot at. In the world, there are areas that have fluoride up to 100 parts, 100 milligrams per liter. We're shooting at 0.7 milligrams, which is substantially less. They learned that fluoride prevented cavities by looking at people who lived in these areas of the world and they didn't have cavities. They often had mottled teeth, and early in my career I saw a lot of people who had mottled teeth because early fluoride levels were provided higher than the current 0.7. The other concern that's been raised is about neurotoxicity. And the concern about neurotoxicity is a little bit like talking about the harms of measles vaccinations of our children. There are theoretical issues, but not really practical issues, and it's a minimal thing. When you compare it to the $10 billion over the next 5 years and ongoing issues, it's a big deal. My second perspective is, having failed retirement from pediatrics and internal medicine, I'm now working at the Rock River Community Clinic, where most of the people we see are from Central America, and they all have cavities, and they never had access to fluoride in the water supplies. Please don't take the fluoride out of our water supply. I heard my beeper.
Thank you. All right, next we have Ms. Olson.
Hello, my name is Amanda Golson. I live at 714 Riverside Drive. I'm a teacher in the community of Jefferson. I'm going to echo many of the things that the people previous to me said. It's funny, I just met John today, and it seems that we were reading many of the same studies, and one of the first things I would like to caution or bring about is much what he said, the difference between a report and a study. I also saw you flash your binder, so I think we're both fans of UW-Madison for the research perspective. I want to talk through just some of the things that concern me, having two children that live in the community, having grown up in a community that didn't have fluoride in its water, and that I had to take fluoride supplements at school. I think one thing that is lost, or one thing that possibly, I guess I just assume, people have been doing a lot of Googling to ask these questions of the board or to make this change. I think from a perspective of just what the manager opened the meeting with is nearly enough to stop the conversation in its tracks. The DNR is in agreement, DHS in agreement. It's 92 cents per year per community member. Every dentist I called in the area thought it was absurd to bring fluoride out of the water. What I had read in peer-reviewed studies is that the return on financials is $1 in $38 for what we spend on fluoride versus what we get in return. 75 years of research shows that it's safe. Oftentimes people talk about toxicity. I want to be scientific in this and say like all sorts of substances are toxic. Salt is toxic. It's about dose. It's not about just what the substance is. And finally, the National Cancer Institute has come out and said there is no correlation. There's study after study, not report after report, but study after peer-reviewed study that says what we've been doing since the 40s in this community works. There's no reason to change that now. So I ask that you don't change it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Meisiger, I believe. Pronouncing that right?
Hi, my name is Mark Meisiger. I am a dental hygienist at Rock River Community Clinic. And I'm not here to spout facts or anything, but I can tell you that many of our clients, our patients, their only source of fluoride is through the fluoridated water. And you can definitely see the detriment of not having it. So I would like to speak on behalf of all the children in the community and urge you to keep the fluoride in the water.
Next, with Ms. Fitzgerald.
Hi, thank you. I'm Joan Fitzgerald. I live at 545 Stratford Court. And sort of two perspectives. I've lived in this community, raised my children here, and have always been very happy, and I will echo what some of the other people my age have said. I did grow up and I have a mouthful of cavities and my children do not. So I'm very happy that we've made some advances in that, and I would urge you not to take the fluoride out of the water. I'm not an expert, but certainly there are studies that you can read. The other part, I just want to kind of talk to you as elected official to elected official. These are hard things to do, right? You're hearing a lot of opinions. I would just urge you guys to take time, do your research, right? We've had fluoride in our water since 1950. This is not a decision that we need to just jump into and just take it seriously, take your time. You're going to hear a lot from constituents, and I would just urge you to listen to the experts, think about it before we make any decisions, because I think you've heard from people today that are pretty passionate about it, and we care a lot about this community, we care a lot about our kids. So that's just my urging to you, is to slow down this. There's no rush to take fluoride out of our water since we've been doing it since 1950. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen to us today, because I think that's also really, really important as a city council that you continue to do that as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Sweeney.
All right. I have a softer voice than everyone else. I would just like to cite an article from our own daily Jefferson County Union. When Jefferson was, back in 2022, deciding whether or not to take fluoride out. So the Jefferson Common Council in recent days changed its collective mind on the subject, originally unanimously in favor of removal of fluoride. The council's attitude changed after the panel heard from a pair of local dental experts, including dentist Michael Bender. According to the ADA, almost 75% of the U.S. population is served by fluoridated community water systems. The ADA said it supports community water fluoridation as what it's called the single most effective public health measure to prevent tooth decay. Studies provide water fluoridation continues to be effective in reducing dental decay by at least 25% in children and adults, even in the era of widespread availability of fluoride from other sources, such as toothpaste. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has cited community water fluoridation as one of the 10 great public health achievements in the 20th century, along with vaccinations, infectious disease control, and motor vehicle safety. 70 years of research, thousands of studies, and the experience of more than 2,010 million Americans tell us that water fluoridation is effective in preventing cavities and is safe for children and adults. So I just wanted to bring something a little closer to home.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I guess I'll just kind of ask this of anyone else. You know, we've kind of heard the same thing from everybody. Is there anyone that has a different opinion regarding this? Otherwise, we can kind of move on to discuss. Okay. You sign up already? Or?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
My name is Jim Marousas. I live at 94 Shirley Street. I was at the candidate forum before the election, and I just want to repeat two things that I said there. First of all, thank you guys for taking the time to serve the community. Much appreciated. And I forgot the second one. Anyway, I would just like to ask, I guess, my second one was, I'm satisfied with the amount of taxes that we pay for the services that we get here in Fort. I think everything is spent with conservation in mind. So I would just ask where this came from. I was concerned before the election that 3 candidates were endorsed by the Republican Party, and I just think City Council is not a partisan position, and it seems to me like this is something that is possibly a Republican position, and so I guess I would just urge you guys to, like they said, listen to the people in the community and go after the things that are concerning the people here in town. Thanks again for your service.
Thank you. Anybody else has any differing opinions with that? I don't want to cut off anyone with the list. If you want to stand up.
I'm the mom that sued the EPA over there on toxicity of fluoride, so I don't live here, but I live in Wisconsin.
Well, you got to be within the city to represent yourself. Okay. All right. I guess at this time I would move on to if you guys, anybody else had signed up, I don't want to cut you off, but we've kind of heard the same thing from everybody, I think. Unless anybody has anything more to really add to it.
I'll speak quick if you don't mind.
Okay.
I'm Olivia Nichols. I'm the next one on there.
Okay.
Told me to add more time, so
No,
I apologize. I'm that person.
I said I don't want to take away anybody's chance, but I don't want to just keep repeating the same thing over and over. So.
Well, I'm Olivia Nichols. I'm the director of Rock River Community Clinic. You've had a few folks of ours that were able to speak. We have a clinic here in town, right around the hospital campus, and we provide medical, dental, and behavioral health care to low-income families, so uninsured Medicaid members. And out of all of the services we provide, dental is by far the highest need. We're the only Medicaid provider in the county due to the poor reimbursement of services. And as you know, children, pregnant women, and patients with disabilities make up the largest share of Medicaid members. And for vulnerable patients, the benefit of fluoride just can't be understated. It's, again, recognized as one of the most cost-effective, equitable, safe measures that you can take to prevent cavities and improve oral health. And my point is that this is inherently an equity issue. So by ensuring that every person, like through tap water, is able to access a free, regulated, protected fluoride, we reduce the prevalence of disparities in oral health. So for those that have insurance, those that don't, those that have parents that make sure they brush their teeth twice a day, those that don't do a great job of it, they're all able to get some level, regulated level. The children we see are already up against so much. Too many have had their adult teeth in their mouth for less than a year, and they're too carious that we have to extract them. 13, 15, 18, these are all too young of ages to be doing partials and dentures, and even less than that, root canals. Worse yet is seeing such decayed baby teeth where children are unable to eat, sleep, or pay attention in school. And there's nothing worse than having to extract baby teeth to see decayed teeth coming up. There's so much that we can do. We see nearly 3,000 children and have started a new pediatric program just to help our 3 to 5-year-olds get better care so that we can have, hopefully, better supports for them as they're older. So my, again, ask is the same, but at 92 cents per taxpayer, my family, from Atkinson originally, has certainly benefited, and our community benefits. So please work with us, not against us. We need you. We need your continued help. And we're asked that you work with us to try to help our schools, help our children, and help our community. Thank you. Everyone want to come tour, too. We'd love to have you. It's a great clinic, and we've got great people. We've got Dr. Alex here who can talk about the science of fluoride, too. But really, we'd love to have you come and learn about the service we do. Thank you.
Like I said, I don't want to cut anybody off, but being how the list is kind of going all in the same direction. If you really have something you want to express, just feel free to let me know.
We have 2 more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Open it up?
yeah.
Okay. I don't really like to speak in public, so I might flub some of my words. But I'm Dawn Kernan. I'm the Dental Operations Director at Rock River Community Clinic. We have 4 of our doctors in-house and 1 of our hygienists. And I'm just here to advocate for my patients. So like Olivia said, we only see Medicaid patients and people underserved who don't have insurance. And I've been a dental assistant for 39 years. And I have not seen the amount of decay that we see in our clinic before in private practice. And our people already have so many red flags against them, and taking away fluoride is just, it seems so detrimental to me. A couple weeks ago, we had a 4-year-old that we had to extract all the molars because they were all decayed, and it's a 4-year-old. Just last week, we had 11, going on 12-year-old, whose 12-year-old molar is just coming in, and it already needs a root canal because it's so decayed. So I just think taking fluoride away is just a really bad decision. And I really just need to advocate for the kids we see, and even the young adults that come into our clinic too. We really, taking it away would just be one more red flag for these people. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we got 2 last ones. We got Miss Evie and Ms. Cargies, sorry?
Yeah.
Well, everyone said a lot of really good things. The one thing that I want to say is that from 2013 to 2016, the elimination of fluoride increased the cost for one community $9.8 billion. The June 30th of 2025, Calgary replace the fluoride in their system. They actually saw from 2011, when they removed the fluoride, this was the study that you had said, from 2011 to 2018, a 700% increase in patients that required IV antibiotics due to dental infections. So there's just a lot of, you guys had a lot of really good things to say. So I'll give you a little bit of, and actually one of the studies for that 1.5, the toxicity, was actually from Canada. So Canada is putting it back in. So, but I wanted to say, I see a lot of patients in our area. Some live in the city and some live on farms. And I'll tell you, generational, people who live on the farm have such a higher decay rate. Like, it's a struggle because they did not have the fluoride that they ingested that helped to strengthen their teeth during the developmental years. And so I just urge you, I don't think we have enough dentists in the area to cover the problem if you take the fluoride out.
Evie, do you have anything to add then?
That was Dr. Evie.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, Dr. Evie kind of said what I was going to say. I'm Dr. Alex Carges-Kernan. I work at Rock River Community Clinic as well. So everyone has said such great things, I don't want to keep reiterating, but I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the strengthening with the fluoride during the developmental time. It helps to turn the teeth much stronger, helps strengthen that outer layer, turning it from the hydroxyapatite to fluorapatite. I can make more sharp teeth. I know it's kind of funny, but kids like having those nice, strong, sharp teeth. So they're much more resistant to decay. Also at Marquette, we are taught, so I graduated from Marquette, we're taught that the fluoride is a gold standard. It was, already said, it was one of the top 10 things in, that we've done for people for public health and strengthening the communities and people's overall health. And we've always been taught that it is the gold standard. That's and how to manage toxicity and stuff. And that's usually ingesting. You get a kid who ingests an entire tube of toothpaste. It's never really been something with the water. As was said before, salt is toxic. Anything, too much water is toxic. Those types of things just have to be monitored. And we're already monitoring, and we're well within a safe range. So I just wanted to kind of talk about how the ADA, ADEA, WDA, all the members, or the clubs I'm part of, we all very highly recommend the fluoride stay in the water. So thank you.
Thank you. We did hear from everybody who signed up. Thank you very much for taking your time to come speak to us. I will move on to item 5 of the discussion. Allow the City Council to discuss the use of the fluoride in the city's water system. After such discussion, we will recommend to the staff what we would like. I will open it up to my fellow council members.
Yeah, first off, I just want to thank everyone who spoke tonight. I know how...
Is it too late to speak?
Oh. I see you snuck in right at the end there.
I don't know, I just walked in.
So we just asked that anybody signed up at the beginning there.
And I walked in late.
Yeah. So, are you a resident of the city, I assume, or?
I have been, not currently.
Okay. You asked that you have to be a resident or a business owner represented within the city, so. Sorry. Okay.
So you don't want to hear what I've got to say?
We're keeping this to within the city. You gotta have interest within the city.
Yeah, sorry, I will continue. I just want to thank everyone who spoke today. I know how, several years ago, before I ran for city council, I spoke to city council, and I know how nervous it can be, and how it takes some bravery to speak your mind, especially on something that can be contentious. So I just want to thank everyone who came today to speak. But I'll just start with that.
And I think it's great to see this many people here too. And to answer the question of where this came from or where it started, I had quite a few people that talked to me about concerns about fluoride in the water and the lack of studies with now that we have fluoride in mouthwashes, toothpaste. You know, the fluoride started in those things, I think in the 70s, where it was in all of the toothpaste, is that right? Okay. And that there's a lack of studies on, we have fluoridated water, we have natural occurring fluoride, and now we have fluoride products. So it was more of a concern of how is this affecting our health? And I'm really, really proud that we're having this session, because I think all the things that we've heard is very good information, and all of our citizens should be able to ask these questions and call the question on it. In Florida, I think just this month or last month, the state took fluoride out of their water. And the concerns were, the only reason I'm bringing this up was the concerns were very much the concerns that I was hearing from other people. You know, a risk to children's intellectual development, the neurological, and I don't think it helped the NTA study that came out, or report that came out in January. I think that may have spurred a lot of the discussion. The need for more research so we can better understand the safety effects of it. And then also consumer protection, preventing water additives for health purposes. You know, if you want to be fluoridated, or if you don't want to be fluoridated, you have to do something different to your water, right? So it's kind of, is that fair? Is it not fair? Is that consent? Is it not consent? It was also the diminished benefits, like there hasn't been a study since the fluoride has been in the toothpaste since 1975 to see what the difference is. And then also the lack of cavities. For those that are receiving dental care, there's, I don't know what the right term is, but a coating that's put on the teeth? Sealants. That I didn't have when I was a kid, but my kids had them. And they definitely had far less cavities from that. But those were really the reasons that it was brought forward. And I think to call it a partisan thing is kind of dismissive for those who have a legitimate concern. So that's why it's here.
Nice to see the turnout tonight. In full disclosure, some of my current dental providers are here, and one of my past medical doctors is here. I appreciate your opinions. I'd like to point out that not once in my time on the council has a resident expressed concern to me about fluoridating the water system. And not one time in a dozen years or more now. And I hear about a lot of things, as I'm sure everyone at this table and others in city staff do, hear about a lot of topics, streets and sidewalks and parks and stormwater and noise levels and a whole litany of things that you can imagine. But I've not once heard about treating our drinking water with fluoridation. And so we've been doing it like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of communities have been for years and decades. And when the notice went out for this listening session, I did have one person who asked me, what does this mean? And I said, well, I'm not exactly sure what it means, but when I said it's not something I would recommend, they then asked, well, who has recommended it? And so I think part of that is like, we need to have some disclosure of how we got here this evening. And then since then, I've talked to a handful of other people in the community about this, and I wanted to get their opinion on it. And almost to a person, the response, if I could just kind of bunch them all together, has been, you're considering throwing out decades of scientific research to stop this, that something that has been named one of the greatest health achievements of the 20th century, and I can only repeat to them that I'm not. I'm not interested in doing that. It's scientifically proven, it's safe, it's cost effective. There's so many reasons to continue with it. For less than $1 a day or $1 a year per resident, we are making a significant achievement in the dental health and physical health of so many people. So there's a reason it was named one of the greatest health achievements of the 20th century, and I don't see any reason to stray from that.
I'll just pipe in here. I brought this forward because council member brought it, and I have heard a few people over the times ask about it. This is, how else do you get information out other than having a listening session? I'm very grateful for everybody who showed up and brought up the information. Honestly, my theory, either way, I don't lean one way or the other. I grew up outside of the city. I didn't move into the city until I was 21. So I lived well water, didn't have it, and I'll just say right out there, I have a very kind of a phobia, fear with dentists, because I had some bad times growing up with dentists. Never had cavities, nothing that way, thank goodness. But so I think a lot of it does come down to both dietary stuff, because any dentist I'm sure will tell you dietary does help, right? So this isn't the only thing that does help your teeth, but I'm not going to say that it doesn't help, doesn't hurt. My biggest thing was just wanting to make sure that community citizens' concerns were brought forward and light was shed on them. What we do from here is what we came here to do. So.
Yeah. In the spirit of doing studies, I don't think as a city we're going to be able to do a study and come to our own unique conclusion. I think there are other organizations that are already out there that state that we're well within the acceptable limits. I would rather, until different directives comes down from those national institutes, my recommendation would be to continue as we are currently. Keep fluoride in the water.
What is your guys' thoughts? It's what we're here for, kind of, whoever says or what direction to move forward. So.
Well, I agree with Councilman Schultz that we don't have the studies and we don't have the directive. We do have proof that we're within the...
Still care enough about the children and the population that even though it may not be the best thing in their interest, they still want fluoride in the water. So I think that's that speaks volumes.
At my level, I would recommend at this point, unless more information comes out from higher institutions, that we kind of leave it as it is. I mean, like everybody else said, we're well within or under the requirements. So that's kind of my position on it. Unless somebody else has different, it kind of sounds like the unanimous consensus at the moment.
I think this is direction for staff, which is that we'll continue to monitor state and federal regulations, and if something changes, we'll have another discussion with the city council.
Works for me. Okay. All right, and then I will ask for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you everybody for coming.